want to welcome everybody attending. I want to thank council for also their commitment to being available to make yourself for our membership. With that being said, what is always tradition for us, before we start the meetings, I'd like to open it up with a prayer. If we could use Laura Woods.
Walked out. Want to take this moment to thank council and executive and everybody for being here, and to your presence creates value and shines a light on the importance of every district that makes up the Yurok tribe, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate you. So in this prayer this morning, I would like to lift up everybody, everyone, every member of the tribe, near and far, their families, the people that love them, those that traveled to be here. We pray for safe travels back home, and that the information provided here today would be listened to, evaluated, understood, presented in a good way, and received in a good way. And let us all remember that we all want the same thing, that we want to move this tribe forward, move the people forward in a good way, not just for us necessarily, but for all the generations yet to come. So lifting up and praying for a good outcome for this meeting and safe travels back home, we thank you. Walk down, walk down, walk down.
Thank you, Ms. Woods. As I mentioned a little earlier, we are recording this so it can outreach to our membership. We'll be posting that later today. With that being said, let's open it up for introduction. I'd like to start down here. Introduce yourself.
Edward Horsabi, North District Council.
Good afternoon, Ryan Ray, Reclaw District.
Ayukui, Frankie Myers, Vice.
Medina Ayakui, Pequot District Representative.
Atlama, welcome to Org District. I'm Sherry Probald, the Org District Representative.
Hi, Lana McCovey, South District.
Joe James, you're a travel chairman. It's an exciting day. It's a beautiful day. Next on our agenda, we have some ground rules that were presented by Javier Kenny from the Executive Office, the Executive Director.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Again, on the agenda that you have, the ground rules are stated as well, but we just wanted to remind everybody, and again, appreciate everybody being here and look forward to all the comments as well regarding this matter. Number one, state your name and residence for the record. Be respectful of all present. No cursing or shouting. No personal attacks. No campaigning. Tribal members are encouraged to ask questions after the presentations, not during. Want to make sure the information gets out as well, and those questions may be answered during that presentation. Only one person speaks at a time to allow everyone an opportunity to speak. Comments and questions are limited to 2 to 3 minutes. We want to make sure everybody has their opportunity. If you have already spoken and somebody hasn't spoken, we'd like to, again, make sure that everybody has that opportunity as well. No personnel or confidential issues will be discussed during this meeting, and written questions and comments will be accepted at the registration table. We also have other hemp products as well, if you get a chance to mosey on over and take a look as well. But
Thank you, Javier. We have the presentations of the topics that we'll be going over today will be travel visions of the Farm Bill, which will, the information and presentation will be provided by Ellie Hopes from our legal department. We'll be discussing Hemp 101. Myself will be discussing that. We'll also be discussing our Yurok Hemp ordinance. That information will be provided by Vice Chair Myers, and then we'll also be talking about our potential business opportunities. And then we'll have it open for travel and comment. We do ask to limit to your comments to 2 to 3 minutes. It's not that, seems like we have enough people here to for everybody to get in. So that's why we capped it at that, so more people could provide opportunity and comments. With that being said, I'd like to open the floor up to Ellie Groups, which will be giving us a PowerPoint and going over the tribal divisions of the Farm Bill.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ellie Hoops. I work for the Office of Power Attorney, and I just wanted to do a little bit of introduction about the Farm Bill prior to us getting into hemp. The Farm Bill was really put together to try to improve what has been going on previously, not only with hemp, but in agriculture generally. And so in December of 2018, they really transformed and created almost like a new design and an opportunity for pilot programs and other things to take place that is going to have like a long-term range plan. It'll be finished in about 2023. So it's now in place as far as being adopted by the Senate and by Congress generally. In addition to that, though, it has been ordered really to to USDA, or the United States Department of Agriculture, to implement it. And one of the things they are currently doing right now is they're formulating regulations. And one of the reasons we added here the U.S. Department of Interior is because they really have been supporting the tribe's position. And this particular farm bill puts the tribe in a very different position, and all tribes, in a very different position than they have been previously. This means it's being recognized by the U.S. Department of Agriculture in a new way than it ever has been before, where language throughout the bill previously said may, it says shall, so it's incorporating the tribe in a lot of different food programs that they were kept out of previously. One of the reasons that it says UROC Department of Agriculture is that is actually going to be that is the department that is referred to in the hemp ordinance, and that is the department that is going to be controlling anything that goes on in agriculture generally and specifically also with hemp. So I just wanted to introduce that first. So Title II conservation. Previously in conservation it was a may for tribes, it wasn't a shall. And so the different incentive programs that are going on environmentally as well as through conservation are now supposed to be accessed for all tribes as well, tribal programs. The definition for tribes is as broad as it could be also. So one of the things that is really remarkable is that where previously they were allowing room so that tribes may not actually be involved in these incentive programs or involved in these pilot programs, or were required to go through a state in order to do that, so they could be ignored. This is now making it so it's mandatory. And in that, we're focusing on tribal agricultural systems as well as structures in that cooperation. So this is a new positive step, and another reason to make sure that we do develop our Department of Agriculture outside of here. Also trade. And what has been formulated, and I don't know how many people here really understand, that tribes really struggle to be able to do any kind of negotiation internationally. Mm-hmm. This requires the federal government to incorporate tribes into their trade incentives and into their trade programs, and that includes traditional foods, things of that nature. So what is really nice about this is that it is supposed to not only support greater inclusion for tribal agriculture and food products and trade, but it also is supposed to increase collaboration. And this language comes directly out of the bill. So basically, from the Europe perspective, I just chose things to put up here that we all know, but this could expand and the tribe itself would get to choose what direction to do there. And that, I think, is also a really positive step and another reason to develop this department. Nutrition. Now, with nutrition, this, obviously, this has something to do with self-governance because it's allowing tribes to control it. It is making it so that at this point, it lowers the tribal match to 20%. It also is allowing for self-determination in that tribes get to do the contracts, are allowed to purchase the food, allowed to distribute the food. This is giving that kind of agency to tribes, which was previously limited. So this is another positive that's coming out of this particular bill. It's also extending out time, it's allowing carryover funding as well, and it's making sure that we continue to develop cost-effective programs here in this community. So it is now focusing on the tribe's version of that rather than just on the federal version of that. Some of the timelines on this are somewhat quick, and so we're going to have to pay attention to them, but previously it wasn't an opportunity. So that's another benefit. It's also focusing on rural development, and I think here is somewhere, and the symbol that I chose here really has to do with broadband. Obviously, that's something that is limited in our community, and I think it's something that can be advanced in our community. So this is allowing, and hopefully, if we can take advantage of this, giving us an opportunity to expand broadband into our broader rural community. It does have financing authority for rural development, and it creates a permanent tribal technical service and assistance office. So this is something that is supposed to exist past the 5 years and to continue on. And obviously broadband is something that changes. It's something that right now, if you get the newest version, is still going to, in 5 years, be old. So to have that sense of permanency is important in this area. So not only is it incorporating the tribe, but it's also allowing that. Research. One of the focuses of the new sort of Farm Bill generally is that this is a pilot program, that this is an improvement, that this is research. And it allows different universities to be involved in that. It also allows different departments to be involved in that. The Department of Agriculture, through the Yurok tribe, would be able to do their own research programs. And one of the reasons you see such a focus right now on hemp is that that is an area of research. It's an area right now that throughout the world, throughout the nation, a lot of innovation is going on. And to be able to be part of that innovation, part of a pilot program there, that many different, not tribes, but states and other universities, a couple of tribes, were allowed to do in 2014, is now an opportunity that all tribes can have. What makes the 2018 bill different from 2014 is the tribe can control it. The tribe doesn't need to do it through a state. They get to do it themselves and have their own experts, their own version of what that will be. So I just wanted to make sure that this is going to be the majority of the focus of today's talk with council, and so this is where that comes from. Forestry. This is something else that is new. It is establishing tribal self-governance demonstration projects for management. It's allowing a look at how to manage forests that is being enabled right now, that has been limited before. And again, if you look through the Farm Bill, a lot of that may language being changed to shall is empowering all of these different directions. Where they will go is, really up to us to decide. How do we want to move those things? So obviously, forests are extremely important. They are one of the protections to our river. They're one of the protections to the sustainability of fish and everything else. So aside the benefit of the forests themselves, beside the fact that California and Northern California is a delicate habitat, this is now getting supported through this bill. Thank you. Horticulture. So how beautiful that they are trying within this to allow food programs to grow and process and market native foods. This is an ability, if you choose to utilize it that way, to enhance traditional life. So I think that's the way to view this particular aspect. And then this is just general. These are just different things that are talking about what it is that they're trying to do. They created a tribal advisory committee that did not exist previously. This is to help support all of the changes and to show at least that the federal government is interested in making sure that tribes are really an equal partner to states in this process rather than somebody that has to go through and filter through and they have a direct connection. The other thing is that it is upholding trust responsibility. The picture I chose here is the ancestral territories rather than just simply the reservation. I think protecting the ancestral lands is really and the life force within there has become more and more important. And we now have an opportunity to perhaps extend that. The Yurok tribe has an opportunity to extend that. So I think it's really important to realize that if you look at the Farm Bill in its totality, whether everyone will read it this way or not is obviously, who will know. But the tribe, the Yurok tribe specifically, gets to try to fight for these things so they really become more and more true. As I said, this is in essence almost like a pilot project. It's something that started December of 2018. It's continuing forward now until 2023, and it's up to us and up to the tribe to decide how that's going to be defined. I think that one of the areas, and this is why we're focusing so much on hemp today, is that there is where you can see specific processes and businesses that were defined as being brand new. Hemp has been redefined. It's no longer seen as a drug when you under the Drug Act, so it's no longer a Schedule I drug. It does have the need to have very specific growing requirements as well as THC requirements that are incorporated in that, but it really redefines a new product that can be transported throughout the nation. And it gives both the states and tribes equal footing there as to what their role is going to be in it. So that is an area where the tribe gets to make its first steps, and the Yurok gets to make its first steps within the Farm Bill. Everything else is incorporated in it, but this is the sort of the front runner within the bill, and I think that's why Tribal Council is focusing on it. Thank you.